Hello everybody and welcome to another Daily Halachah Spotlight brought to you by OTN. This is episode 29 and we have another listener submitted question. This one is from Anonymous who lives in Lakewood. He wants to know, when you go into a Geiger supermarket, Stop and Shop, or a Shoprite, or wherever you go, are you allowed to buy cut up fruit? Is there any kashrus concern or not? This is an excellent question. Let's dive in. So we know the halacha is that blios, the flavor that's in a not kosher utensil, a pot or a pan or something, if that blia, or if those blios end up inside my food, the food becomes not kosher. However, halacha tells us that blios only travel when there is heat. And therefore, if I take a knife and I cut a watermelon, even if the knife has not kosher blios in it, those blios, those flavors are not going to go into the watermelon because everything is cold. However, the concern is that there might be some shamnunis, some not kosher fat, or some not kosher grime, or actual not kosher be'en on the knife itself. And when you cut the watermelon with a not kosher knife that has that not kosher pieces or whatever it is on the outside, that'll now be on the watermelon and you won't be able to eat the watermelon. That is the potential concern. However, practically, Rav David said that when you go to a place like Shoprite, or Stop and Shop, or any of the places like that, where we could assume they're not going to want to cut the fruit with a dirty knife, it's not good for their business, they don't want to give you tainted fruit, so we have the right to assume that the knife was clean. Now, of course, they're not going to cash the knife, but there's no blios concern because it's all cold. The only concern is the be'en, the fat that might be on the knife, and we could assume that Shoprite, Stop and Shop, whoever, whichever big store it was, took care of it and washed it off. Okay, a small mom and pop shop, perhaps there'd be more welcome for concern. But a big chain store like that, where they have, mass producing cut fruit, I don't know, literally mass producing, but they have lots of cut fruit, we can assume they're doing a nice job keeping things nice and clean. However, there's one more halacha we have to keep in mind. There is a rule that if you're cutting something sharp, that is able to pull out flavor from the knife even without heat. And therefore, if you're cutting what's called a davar charif, that would be a problem. So if you go to the Shoprite and you want to buy cut lemon is called a davar charif, at least we assume that way, then that would not be a good idea, because if this knife has not kosher blios in it, even if the outside was clean, the lemon is going to pull out the not kosher flavor. So the question is, what fruits are considered sharp to pull out the flavor and which are not? Generally speaking, melons, watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew, oranges, things like that, we're going to assume those kind of fruits are not called charif, and they'd certainly be okay. Pineapple is somewhat of a discussion, even though it seems like most poskim are makel about that as well. Rabbi David did have a chumrah. He held that Granny Smith apples are called charif, and therefore you shouldn't buy cut up Granny Smith apples from one of these stores. I've never seen them for sale, but if you do see cut up Granny Smith apples, one should be machmir. Okay, hope this answers your question. All the best, everybody. Take care.